All right, how's everybody doing tonight? I got a couple of people in the chat right now. Greg is here, Baz is here, and I'm here with John's Longbox and Paul Thayer. That's how you pronounce your last name, right? Thayer?
Yeah, you aced it.
All right. Paul is, well, he's been doing this for about 3 years. He says, producing comic after comic. And right now he's got Project Naosis.
Project Naosis.
Now it's this Crimson and Crimson Pain, which is about to come out. That's the one that I was looking at. So we're going to talk about that tonight. Oh, we got the chat filling up here. We got Bethel in the chat. John is here along with James and Michael and a couple of people. So if you have any questions for Paul or me or John, you just stick them in the chat and we'll see if we can keep up with them. So I'm going to right off the bat show some of this art from your books, Paul, just because let's take a look here. There is, where are the stories? We'll go here. Comic books.
Yep, comic
There's
books
some
is our website.
spectacular art in this. Paul is the writer for all these books. So how many artists you got working for you, Paul?
So we'll go down the list. Episode 0, we had Corey Hampshire on there. You know, he's worked a ton with Marvel, Image, and you know, he did episode 0 where we focus on Crimson Pain. We had the colorist Brian Valenza on there who kills it on the colors. He does a lot of he does a lot of work for Marvel. He does a lot of Star Wars stuff. Episode 1, we have Julian Shaw, who, you know, he's doing Moon Girl. He's doing a lot of Marvel Unlimited stuff now. He did the first 12 pages of that issue, and then the other 28 are Kyle Penchak, which on Kyle's portion, it was colored by Prasad Rao. That's when I hooked up with Prasad, and Prasad's been coloring all my books ever since. And then episodes 2 and 3, and then my Omega 2090s is Samuel Marquise, and he's been killing it with me. And then our new book, I don't want to butcher his last name, but his first name is Evan G. And, you know, he does the back covers to all of our books because all of our books have back covers. And we've always been trying to like plan on something to make. He does a lot of freelance work in Russia. So he finally had the time. We put a 22-page book and that book's finished. And we're going to be dropping that on Kickstarter very soon. So a lot of people, and anyone that does the covers, when you see a cover A, that's the interiors that you're getting.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So Corey did his own cover. Samuel did his own cover. Kyle did his own cover. Julian did that cover B that you see.
There's nothing worse than picking up this spectacular art on the cover and you open it up and it's chicken scratch inside. You're like, it drives away customers. So you're doing the right thing. You know,
because that's, you know, I preach, you know, what I think, and it's the same thing what I think. I go to the comic stores all the time, and I hate when I pick up a book and, you know, it's not it. I like what they're doing, like with certain books when it is the cover and you go inside, it's awesome. Of course, you could tell when it's like an Alex Ross or something. It's not that, but like I think the covers A should always be the artist that's drawing the interiors,
and that's why I always try to collect the cover A of any comic I get cover A.
Yeah,
you know, I always say like Fantastic 450 had one cover. It was good enough for Jack Kirby. It's good enough for me. You know.
Yeah, we play around with things like when we do like I had Corey do a homage cover for the Omega 2090 that's not on the website. We sell these at cons, like it's the New Mutants 87 homage. You know, we try to play around with that because I think it's like cool, and also our homages like relate to what our story is, like, you know, Cable hunting down the New Mutants, Crimson Pain hunting down soldiers, you know, similar aspects.
Could you tell me, forgive me, I'm not familiar with it, what Naosis means. Could you tell me what that means?
So, little synopsis.
Sure.
So in 2090, a speedster named Crimson Pain kills off all the heroes in existence very horribly. So the government makes a protocol called Project Naosis. It's basically Project Mystical Warrior. You know, they take soldiers, fighters, the top 6 of who could really make it in this team to go kill off these supervillains, jacks them up with a serum. They get powers. Bam, time to go kill. And they're there to kill all of them off. So it's just Project Mystical Warrior. It's a code name because at least for these upcoming first issues, no one knows that these superheroes now exist. Everyone thinks the superheroes are dead. The villains are just here. There's a one world government. There's a lot going on. Right now, you're looking at the episode 0. Those are the interiors from Corey.
They're gorgeous.
Yeah, I give you a glimpse of each interior of what you're going to get inside without a major spoiler. But as you can see, Crimson Pain literally ripping through them like shreds. He's not here to smack you in the face and say, I'll be back next time. He's ready to take your head and be a real villain. And that's what we really want. That's Julian Shaw. He did the colors on his stuff as well. Spectacular stuff. The fight scenes in there are awesome. That's Kyle's teaming up with Prasad. That's one of our main characters, Lithium. He's one of our main heroes.
This looks awesome.
Tons of cool characters. I try to, focus as much as I can each book on a certain amount of characters so you get the best of everything.
I mean, it looks great, but I got to say the colors just are outstanding.
Yeah,
not to take away from anything else, but those colors are really popping out. That is excellent.
I feel like colors are very big. I went through a couple different colorists before I even found Brian and then found Prasad. And I'm very grateful I have Prasad. Prasad's a super big fan of the book too. And, we've been killing it. He got some DC work now and he's doing some cool stuff. But we're trying
What's the name of this orange guy right here? This orange blue guy.
That's our main dude, Omega. So clearly front and center. He's the main guy. He's the main superhero of the unit. He's the leader. Energy-based powers as well. Shoots out purple energy. Has super strength. The guy that was shooting the blue energy was his brother. So clearly, if similar powers, if you're related, makes more logical sense.
So this whole thing is a big expanded universe. All these characters are part of one, and all these books are part of one universe. Is that correct?
Yeah, everything that I'm going to put out is in Project Naosis as of now. Like, for example, Crimson Pain is the main villain. We're doing a Crimson Pain 1, which takes place between episode 0 and episode 1. Just to give you like different perspectives. But yeah, I just want to keep building out of what we have and what more people are drawn to. If people love the team book, if people like our spin-off prequel, if people want to see these single characters in action, because then I'll do more single characters. We'll focus more on the girl in the back Hellsate, or we have Prince Euro with the bow. If it goes well, we're just going to keep bombing them off that way. But Project Naosis is our main cool. story, which drives our story forward.
Just to let everybody know, the link for that project that we're showing right now, which is Indiegogo, which is in demand, it is in the description if you want to go take a look over there, what I'm looking at here, or order the book at all. So link in description for everybody.
So this is live right now. We could pick this up? Yeah.
So website, the one that we were at before, projectnaosis.com, I ship everything in 2 days what you order. So whatever you order, it ships in 2 days. Then Indiegogo, as soon as the money lands, it takes about 2 weeks. I ship out those books for you. And it's only the trades that you can get on here. You get the 3 different cover options. We shipped every single order that was made 2 weeks ago out today. So we got an additional, we blew up these last 2 weeks. We got another 80 orders. I was, as soon as I got the money yesterday, I was packaging, getting this shit done, get it out there. We're giving you guys the stuff. It comes with a trading card too for anyone that orders these super cool trading cards.
So I'm just looking at this. I can tell you're a guy that loves comics. What did you read? What are your inspirations?
Definitely love comics. But when I was a kid, I guess the only thing that really resonated with me originally was, I liked, The Dark Knight. I liked Spawn. I love Batman. I'm a big movie buff. No one loved Star Wars more than me as a kid. And, I feel like I stopped for a bit. I went to Comic-Cons a lot when I was little. And then, Marvel Zombies too, big fan. And then when I got up, I took a break and then I got back in with the New 52. I loved what they did with Batman, Scott Snyder. He's a huge inspiration. I loved his run. Tony Daniel on Detective was awesome as well. And, I always just consume. And then that was the same thing again. I had that problem where I was really invested in these books and then they restarted again. And the main rule about
a punch in the face, right?
Yeah. And I get it. It happens, but I'm pretty sure they did 3 or 4 reboots since then. And that was only 15 years ago.
Right.
And the rule with Project Naosis, and it's in the video, there's no multiverse, there's no do-overs, there's no extra lives. If anyone loves a character that gets killed off, we could do a one-shot with them, you know, and we can build off that way. There's times in between the books that we could do something like that, but I'm there to drive the story forward and,
real stakes.
Like, eliminate them. Why? You know, I'm a big fan of Mortal Kombat. You know, I'll give you, you know, for the viewers, you know, if you could zoom up real quick, I'll show a quick little spoiler.
So you believe
the first 10 pages.
Look at my ugly face there. Yeah.
Like spine ripping action. You know what I mean? That's what he does.
Okay.
You know, there's no coming back from that. There's no coming back from that. And, you know, like, I want the stakes real. Like, when, you know, if Darth Vader eliminates someone, you know, you don't want them to come back. You got to keep them going forward. And, you know, Mortal Kombat, finishing moves, and then, you know, just crushing it.
Yeah, you want real stakes. You want real tension. You know, what, you know, if Omega gets his head blown off in issue 2 and then he's back in issue 3, why would I take your comic serious? You know? Yeah, there's no tension. And without tension, there's no excitement. And without excitement, it's not a comic book.
Like, if you see what the main villain does to one of the strongest heroes in the first 15 pages, now when the tensions are rising for these characters to meet, you're like, okay, when these people meet, someone's living and someone's not living. Like, even the heroes are at the same stakes because they know if they hesitate with these real supervillains, they will die. And they're here to save the world, not, you know, make friends.
So now that you talk about it, we should play the video here
Oh, we got
on
a video.
the Indiegogo page. Give me a second here. I just have to play around with making this full screen so I can
Well, RJ is. Oh, okay. You found
make it as big as possible here.
In the year 2090, a speedster named Crimson Pain rises up and eliminates all the heroes in existence. So the government unites and makes a super enhanced team called Project Naosis to fight off this rising rebellion. In this world, there is no multiverse and no extra lives. Super action-packed with stellar story alongside a phenomenal team of artists and a total of 120 interior pages. Join us in our mission to make this volume book a success, bringing this series to life yet again in a trade paperback. This is an indie comic. This is Project Naosis.
All right.
pretty cool.
There's a lot of X-Men, I think, in that, just in the visuals, very much, I'll say 2010s, really good X-Men looking stuff for art there.
Yeah, this looks like classic Marvel and DC superhero stuff. This is excellent.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Yeah.
We try to put as much work as possible into it. I definitely feel that everyone that has been involved actually really cares about like what they're doing, which is a big help. Like, I work really well with my team. You know, I said it tons of times on other pods as well. Like, I write this script, but I'm not afraid for things to change. There was a major plot change that happens in episode 3 that wasn't my choice. He just happened to draw them in a certain area that was different than what was said, and I just roll with it because I thought it looked awesome. You know, you can't like dictate art too much. So, you know, we all flow. We all have, you know, everyone has a say, and especially when they care. Like, for example, Samuel, I tell him a spoiler of something in episode 6, and he genuinely got upset with me that I told him about a book that's 2 books ahead, that he didn't get to like read the script first and then realize it, which is awesome. You know, it's good.
It's funny when I send the scripts to Renzo, my artist and my colorist. I'm like, should I tell him why they're drawing this? Because that's not going to happen unless we make it to issue 3. You know, so I understand what you're saying. Like, you know, can I spoil it to even the guys on the team?
Yeah. So like, because I want him to see, like, at least now, like the first couple books, it wasn't really like that. At least with me and Samuel right now, it's like he needs to kind of see where these characters are going from, like, so he knows the faces that they should really be like leaning more towards versus like, you know, we want to see a shift in character throughout each book. And I just love making comics, man. I consume as much comics as possible. You know, I just read the Grant Morrison. I just read the whole omnibus of the Batman run where Damian was debuted.
That was good.
Which I never read, you know? Yeah. So like, consuming. I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
I don't mean to be like mean or anything. Like when you talk about you went to comic conventions as a kid, I'm looking. I got this ancient beard over here, and I'm looking at you. You're a kid to me. Do you mind asking how old are you?
So I don't have my beard. If you see me on other streams, I usually have like a beard.
Oh,
So
really?
like now I look like my young stallion self again. I'm 26.
Okay. That's when you're 55, 26 is a kid.
Yeah,
So
26. I have a kid.
I'm just impressed because I had Vaughn Coleman on, and he's 26, and he is making wonderful comics too. So I was getting a little disheartened that it's all us old timers making comics. So I'm glad to see that there's the next generation is not only picking up the slack, but this looks excellent. I'm excited to look at this.
Yeah, thank you. We do very well at conventions. I feel like we have a really good outlook. I did New York Comic Con recently for the first time.
Oh wow, how was that?
It was spectacular. Sales wise, probably the best we've ever done. I do San Diego every year.
Really?
Yeah, I did San Diego for 3 years. I did the one that was they had a special edition. That's how I got plugged in with them. And I was in November. I got like 2 tables. And we just ripped it, and we've been going ever since. I have 11 conventions booked for the year already, all signed up, ready to go. So I travel a lot. I try pushing as much of the product as possible, and yeah, I'm definitely looking to to just keep pushing myself in, and making a name for myself and branching out.
Wow, that is impressive. I haven't been to a convention in like 6 years. I think that's something I got to. Hey, RJ, want to come down here to New York? Me and you will go to a convention together.
Yeah, which I'm trying to do it, John, but we'll see. But going all the way to San Diego, that's a long ways to go for a convention to set up tables. You actually getting enough interest from a convention like that to warrant going all that way?
So there was 2 major things, right? So when I went to a Comic-Con in 2019, and I noticed when I went to New York Comic-Con that no one tried interacting with me and tried selling to me. And I thought it was very weird. I come from a sales point. I was running, and I run multiple gyms. I run one now because I'm picking up a lot with this. Sales has always been a strong point for me. So I go there, and I make sure to interact with every single person possible. Try to build my brand out. And yes, I make a very great return, mostly at every convention,
Wow.
including San Diego. And I may honestly stay there for like 10 days. So I do the convention. I'm probably going to do 7 this year. I stay in Coronado, and then we go hang out there for like a week, networking and doing stuff like that.
Wow, that's who else was telling me they were doing conventions, but it's something I overlooked. I got to start doing conventions. When I print up my comic, bring some boxes down to the conventions.
Because like even 2 San Diegos ago, I can't really talk about the book yet, but I got picked up for work like a year ago from me being at these conventions, and it was a company that just makes movies, and they were like, hey, can you make books for us instead? And I got that because it was some guy walking past me, and I was like, I forced him to come look at me, and he ended up buying stuff, and a month later I had a job. So it's just about networking. I definitely feel like what I try to do too, as much as possible, is I really try networking even on social media. Like I'm just trying to be a positive influence and interact with as much people as possible to build everything up, so
that is awesome.
With San Diego too, you do ship everything out. Like that's the only one that I really like. I ship a lot of inventory to there. Otherwise, like I'll bring it in like 2 luggages or something. I put like 30 pounds on my back in the airport, to save me some, like I'm not even kidding. And the only one, the one that I really, WonderCon in March was one of the best ones we've ever had. It was the only con that I completely I left with nothing. It was definitely a good feeling.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, do you when you ship everything out there, do you ship it back home? Do you sell it all out?
I have enough that it wouldn't even manage. It would be just finding my luggage if I overdo. I try to plan as much as possible. I think I really got like a good feel for how much I need for these cons, and those are the ones I'm only flying out for. Like I'm doing Awesome Con in Washington, I'm doing Big Lit Comic Con in Virginia, and then that's great because I could just have triple the inventory in my car, and then like if I need it, I just like open it up and then go. So I just try to like estimate it out. I know how much I could do. I don't take breaks at the cons. I do what I saw Todd McFarlane does, and I took that on video. He says he doesn't break because he doesn't eat, he doesn't consume anything. I have energy drinks, so I'm cheating a little bit, but I definitely just try to like. Yeah, it's at 12 hours. You don't see me. You'll never not see me there. And if I'm not there, it's my wife there while I use a bathroom break.
Yeah. Well, if anybody doesn't know what Paul's talking about, Todd McFarlane said he said it would be a nightmare for somebody to drive all these hours, wait online or whatever, and then they go and it's an empty chair. Mm-hmm. So he says that he just holds it in. He doesn't have a big breakfast. He just sits there, and for 12 hours he meets and greets every person, shakes their hand, looks them in the eye, tries to, have as much of a conversation as you can without, getting 16,000 people waiting for it because it's Todd McFarlane. But yeah, that's a good role model to follow, because I don't know how many times I went to a comic convention and people look like I was annoying them just to talk to them,
Yeah, and that's what's that, and I feel like that was a thing too for me when I went as younger. Like when I went, like when I was a kid, like I really, like a lot of people did connect with me, I guess, because I was younger and like, stuff like that. Like I was like, oh, who's this little kid? Like giving a shit, I try to go early. Like if I do a convention in New York, I'm there like 3 hours before trying to meet people and talk to people and like try to like pick people's brains, I'm still learning, and trying to build the best thing possible. But I love comics. I go every week, to buy books. So like, it's not, I'll consume everything. So
what comics are you still looking forward to every month?
Right now it's like a good bunch, right? So like you got Transformers, which I never read a Transformers book a day in my life until Daniel Warren Johnson, who's this extremely nice person that I met. And he has a great book. I love the art. I pick up Spawn every month. You can't go wrong with a $2.99 book.
Right. He kept his prices down, right?
Like that's the only thing that's holding me back from stores. Like one thing I want a whole year's catalog before I can do something, because I don't want to be rushed on any of the products that we make. All of our books are oversized. They're anywhere from 24 to 44 pages a book. So, I try to like give you as much content as possible. And, we try not to waste it. And that's really like the big things. Otherwise, like I'll pick up like an old volume if I hear it on a podcast, or like Rob Liefeld had a podcast. He was talking about Jim Valentino's Guardians of the Galaxy. I just ordered it. Like, come to my house. Like, let me read this. Let me see what I'm missing. Like, did I miss something? Like, I need to consume. And I'm just trying to. But those are really the main books. I was digging. Duke #1 too. Was pretty cool. I like the take on it.
Yeah, the Transformers and that Duke are that. It seems like that's what everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah, and I want to give everything a shot. Like I do, sometimes I'll see an Image book or a Marvel book. I'll see a #1 or a Boom book, and I'll pick it up. And right then and there, I'll know if I'm picking up any more, So like, and I give everyone a shot, and I like supporting my stores. We have a bunch over here.
You still got good local comic stores by you?
Yeah, we have A&S Comics in Teaneck. Shout out my guys. They let me do signings there all the time. Fortress of Solitude. That one's in Newark, New Jersey. They're a pretty big store. They do phenomenal. And then the Joker's Child too. It's like 10 minutes away from me as well. In Fairlawn, very nice community. So I got like 3 good stores, and awesome. Eastside Mags in Montclair. They let me do signings there. They sell all my stuff. Like they're great guys, Jeff and all of them. Yeah,
because I got 3 local comic stores by me, but they none of them carry new comics. It's all back issue places.
Isn't Fourth World by you?
Yeah, Fourth World is by me. Yeah, I'm talking like 5-10 minutes from me. Fourth World. Okay. That's a nice drive. Fourth World. Yeah, that's a good store. That's. I remember when I went to Stony Brook, I would drive out there. That was my local comic book store.
Yeah, I did a signing there for episode 1.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, they're great guys to me too. I wish I can get out there more. And it's like the store thing. That's why I really just stick to direct to consumer. Like I want to be able to, so like if there was a consumer that only does comic book stores, like I want them to be able to get it every single month. I don't want them to like come and it's like 3 months. Like now I have a catalog, but it's just I want to get there first before we land that.
So how many comics do you actually have for sale?
We look on the website. No, I'm just kidding. Omega 2091, Omega 2092. We have episode 0, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. So that's 6 in a trade. The trade collects all 4 issues of Project Naosis. And we have 4 more books in production right now. We have Crimson Pain #1. We have Voltage and Imperium #1, which debuts our street heroes, gives you a different perspective because Project Naosis is like A-level X-Men Avengers. I want to show where's Daredevil and Luke Cage.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Different perspectives on the same world.
Yeah, and guys that are like these superheroes technically kill people. Who doesn't kill people? Like let's look at those people too. And then I have episode 4, which I'm super happy to make, and it's definitely a big turn to crazy stuff. And then we're gonna do Omega 2090 book 3. Omega 2090 book 3. We're aiming for the end of the year. Yes, could there be possibly more books? It just all depends on how these next Kickstarters go and things like that.
Wow.
I had a question about the world just for a second. Although I have to give a shout out here to Taz for the £5 super chat. Thank you very much, Taz. He's always given super chats, so I have to thank him profusely. But my question about your world was, as far as I read from what you have on your site, it's not quite. I mean, the entire world was reshaped with the event that happened. What is it in the Zero book? Or it's not normal cities. You're not using normal cities that you have, New York or Washington or anything like that in your books, are you?
Yeah, so great question. So you start off in the year 2090, right? There's 3 standing nations. There's the Red Crown, there's the European Federation, there's the Americas. In one day, Crimson Pain eliminates all 3 capitals. So like I always thought, like, what's like the most used thing in comic books or movies that I never want to use and I needed to die today? So New York City wiped out, Paris wiped out, Beijing wiped out. Bam, gone. Like off the face of the earth. There's a crater there. And from that moment, the government goes, hey, we have those superheroes. We need to unite under one nation against this bad guy and his rebellion that's starting to rise up. So it's one nation, the United League of Nations, against this one evil bad guy.
And you said he's got super speed powers?
Super speed, dual blasters, spike gauntlets, no mercy. If he throws his blaster away, if it gets hit out of his hand, he has magnetic pulses that it can come right back to his hand. He's definitely OP.
I've always thought that how would anybody beat the Flash? Like if you could react faster than I could think, so a super speed villain has got to be the most terrifying thing in the world, if you ask me, in the superhero world. A big strong guy, okay, this guy's gonna wreck stuff and everything, but a super speed guy, he's gonna beat me before I show up. I do my superhero pose and I'm defeated.
One day, and it's realistically hours, he eliminates all these capitals and like 20 main superheroes. So like speedster, like you can run, he's gonna do the next objective. Like I also love that perspective too, because I feel like it wasn't used, thankfully. Like the only one that's really there is Reverse Flash, but tight yellow tights versus guy who looks like like Thanos type armor right now, you know what I mean, to like wipe someone out is it's scary. Yes. I would be scared if I saw him. Like if the people are scared when they see him. Like you're just leading up to that. And there's other villains too. We have a Screecher in episode 1. We have a Telekinetic in episode 1. And then we have a guy that uses dark matter energy in episode 2 and 3 as like the big bad guy for 2 and 3, leading up to Crimson Pain. Because, we're not going to give you Crimson Pain versus them right away. Because
I just got to ask you, because my thing is names and words. The Naosis, is this a word, or is it a word you made up?
Word I made up, but like I was just looking at a lot of so usually what I do, like and I wouldn't really know the exact like for example, it's a different word. I saw a word in Greek and I just changed letters around and called it Naosis. You know what I mean? Like, and I was just like, that's my word now. I own it, copyrighted. You know, bam. And then the same with like Hellsate. It was like Hissate in it was like fire in like another language, and I changed it to Hellsate. Now it's my word. I own it. You know what I mean? So like just fooling around with stuff. And it's like how they use files now, like project whatever, you know, paperclip or project like Sunstorm or project whatever. That's how the government files, you know, operations. And I kind of wanted that same aspect because of course it's superheroes, of course it's, you know, sci-fi, but I still want that realism in the books, like as grounded as possible. Like Omega 2090 is very grounded in the beginning because you get the origins of our characters leading up to that.
I was going to ask, there's a big Greek influence there. You have Odysseus as a character. So is it throughout a lot of your characters? I'm the same way, very interested in Greek myth and things like that. Is it worked into your storylines?
Yeah, because like, for example, I'll give that one. We have Odysseus, because he resembles a god. Like this is like our Superman, you know, in a sense. Like, and that's who Crimson Pain wants to brutally murder in the first book. So yeah, I just wanted to think of like, and they're called the Guild of Titans, the original superheroes, you know. Hybrid has a gun called the Wrath of Hades, you know, so like, and it shoots like red beams, you know. Yeah, so definitely a lot of influence. I take everything into influence. Like if it's video games, if it's movies, you know, like I could say like, yeah, literally like the Greek mythology is a big influence. Mortal Kombat's a big influence. Clearly, you know, any DC and Marvel big influence.
I'm a big Greek mythology freak. You know, as far back as I can remember, comic books and Greek mythology, because to me they're the same thing. You know, Odysseus and Hercules and Achilles. These guys are all superheroes. You know, under a different term, under a different genre, but it's the same thing. The people that are more powerful than those around us and change the course of history and do great deeds. It's just so much fun. So I'm loving that there's a mythological element to your book.
Yeah, because that's something Crimson Pain wants to eliminate. He's like, everyone sees these people as gods. They're not gods. He's like, it's a stage act, you know, like, and he shows them that it is, you know, because he's gonna, you know, it's spoiler free, like a little spoiler actually, like, you know, he brings them to town, you know, so like, and he's armored up. Like a lot of villains aren't armored up. They don't have the gear. And if you're not cocky, if you're cocky and don't have the gear, you'll see what happens when they suffer the consequence when they're in actually a real battle. Because it's the same thing as army. Like we wouldn't, you know, I'm not going to go in a tank top to go fight in the Middle East, you know, like I got to have some gear on.
Yeah. I'm checking. I really do. Again, I keep harping on it because it's a good thing, but the thing that stands out the most is the colors is outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, as I'm getting my comics colored, I guess I'm paying more attention to it. So, you know, I'm really impressed. And again, I saw that. That looks fun. What is that, a floppy or is that a trade?
No, this is the trade. So I thought
you got to let me know when my face is going to be that big. I don't want to look at
the trade. This is one cover option. This is the X-Men homage, and as you can see, there's Odysseus and all the old heroes in the back, and in with the new, right? Like we do the great homages, and then you have the Julian Shaw cover with Vantage taking on Omega.
That is awesome.
Yeah, and then we're waiting for more of the cover A's, but they'll be here by the end of the week. But yeah, these are super cool. They have a front cover, they have a back cover. That's Evan G's work. He's stellar. His Crimson Pain book is going to be off the charts. And he does some great, you know, work on the insides as well, you know, like super cool stuff. You know, super grateful for my team.
Are those perfect bound? They look like more graphic novels than floppy.
Yeah. This is, the trades are 120 pages. So it's 120 page trade paperback. And then because it contains 0, 1, 2, and 3. Episode 0 is 20 pages. Episode 1's 44. 2 is 24, and 3 is 24. And then we threw some covers and cool stuff in the back. Index, you know. I love this cover. And Corey is the only one on the team that does lines and inks like regularly. So I get all the 11 by 17s in the house. It's like an awesome feeling. That's why he always needs to do a cover, because like, come on, I need this in my house, you know, like the actual like inks. I think it's so cool.
Did you make up all the characters?
In what sense?
It like you made them up. You said you're the writer. Did
Yeah. All the characters. I made their descriptions. I made what they need to do. When I give it to an artist, I do a light drawing or a written description plus like 10 Google images of like different things and different textures that I want.
Could you draw it all?
Like the only one that looks like spot on for my drawing is Thorn, like the exact same thing, but like very rough. When I was a kid, I only do straight on, so I can't draw. Otherwise, I draw these books. But I have, I had Johnny Morrow help me.
Yeah, I'm showing like this is how I was like this will be the cover, That's a sense of my artistic abilities.
I had Johnny Morrow help me with a lot of the designs. We go through multiple things. Like I wish I could show on my phone. Like when me and Samuel recently with do concept art, he'll go A, B, C, D, and then he'll show me this, and this, and I'll be like, let's go A, and then he'll do colors, and I'll be like, put this here, do this there. Everything's a collaboration. But yeah, I came up with the characters.
Yeah, that's one of the beautiful things about comics. If you ask me, I used to write I tried writing novel manuscripts, but writing a comic, it is so beautiful to work with other people who are so professional and just entrenched in, I want this thing to come alive.
Yeah, and like you could tell like everyone's involved, like it's a really good feeling, like when I get a 2 cents. And even when Evan wanted to go back in, he's like, should we change Crimson Pain's armor for this book, and gave me like 5 different designs, and it's just like it looks cool, like I'm happy, like everyone's like on board, like so even Corey
to get a finished page, and you're like, I wrote this, and then this professional drew this, and now I'm looking at it, every time I see some artwork from Renzo, I'm like, I run upstairs, show my wife, and she's like, "Oh wow, yeah, what do you want for dinner?"
Yeah, I'm a loss for words of like how these guys draw. I make Samuel now record everything that he does, so I get like the time lapse of
really? That's
of
cool.
Everything. Yeah, I use them as like reels and stuff on Instagram or TikTok, and I love the process. I love bouncing each other ideas off. Like even today, he'll be like, "Hey, I'm gonna add 3 panels," or he might even tell me, and I'll just have 7 panels on there, and I'm just like, that's my job then to, as an editor with it, go back in the script, the words work, can I move this here to make this flow better? After I get all the art, I reread the script hand in hand with it and make sure it flows. Otherwise, I can completely change some things sometimes.
RJ,
and that's what's great about no deadlines.
RJ, I never asked you, could you draw?
I used to draw a lot, but that was probably 30 years ago. What I used to do was take covers from the books that I really wanted to protect, and I draw a new cover and basically put it in the plastic bag over top of the actual cover. So yeah, a long time ago. I don't know how I could draw now, but I meaning to ask you, Paul. You're talking about editing, and you're doing all the editing for the book. I'm a big believer in trying to follow the greats of comic history and look at what they did to make great comics. What are your influences in the field of editing, and did you have someone particular that you're trying to emulate when you're going for a look and a feel for a book?
Not necessarily. I really just do it as like, would I read this, or like, does this make sense with the other books? Otherwise, I don't. And I think it's a lot of thing with like the writing aspect of me too, is like, I really don't want things to change. It's like, no, this is great. This like, we got to do this way, and then that's great about having the other half of like, things got to change to make it work, but nothing per se, like anyone in particular. I definitely think is like, would I pick up this book off the shelf and would I pay $10, or like, would I, enjoy this read all the way through? And yeah, that's really how I just think of it.
Does this excite me? Because if it doesn't excite you, then why would it excite RJ?
Yeah.
The question here, Vaz says, are there other superheroes? He wants to know about other superheroes besides Crimson Paint.
If you went to the characters page, so you can actually see a better drawing of them, you have Rifter on there, you have Banshee, and you have Vantage. If you could scroll up. Characters, yeah, go to Rifter. Boom, Rifter's the first one. So Rifter is a telekinetic. He's in episode 1. Super badass. As you can see, he's a little showboater. You know, he got the abs rolling, shirtless.
If I had telekinesis, I would be so fat because I wouldn't have to move.
Yeah, he has a good backstory. Then we have Banshee. I don't know if she's under that.
Just pulling the Twinkies right to my mouth, you know.
Yeah, just laddering it. Yeah, it's like it's a great power, and I wanted that feel, but it's once again it's a 4-on, it's a 4-on-1, so only you can go so far, and that's what's great about the team. There's Banshee, super screecher, claws like Sabretooth, super agile, and then we have Vantage, who's our big bad in episode 2 and 3, who's so badass, and I would go back up, and oh yeah, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
that's a cool design.
Yeah, that's him before you see the armor. That jacket comes off real quick. But he's definitely the most powerful out of those 3. And he's definitely ruthless. Very, very ruthless. And, we're just building off. I definitely have more on the way. And we're wrapping up a lot of the scripts. Because, like I said, I'm not, afraid to change things. I definitely want to add people. Shadon was definitely a villain too. He's in Omega 2090. Forgot about him. And we have some cool little side guys that come in. But the main focus is how are we going to get the Crimson Paint and who's there on the way? So yeah, we got a lot of cool characters.
Yeah,
and that's just some of them. There's definitely more that are coming in. It's like drilling a screw in my eye, to work, because I do the website too. So it's just it's a lot of work to put more characters on there.
Now you said you give references to, when you get the designs back from your artists, are you like, no, that's not what I thought, but geez, that's cool, I'm going to keep that?
Yeah, so I would say a lot of the time it's pretty not spot on, because I really try to give them the resources, and you can also order the trade right there if you want it real quick. It was right there, but I want to give them the resources to have it, because I feel that's a thing too. I see in some of my I've been through it before. I'll send something and it just won't land on how I even tried drawing it, because I can't fucking draw, you know what I mean? I'm drawing a guy with a fucking skull eyes and shit, and I'm so yeah, send the references, and then we usually all my concept art now that I do before the books are done with Samuel for recently, and we just do multiple light lines, and then he'll be like, which one? I'll go this, boom, next, move over, boom, let's do this again. You the
pencils,
yeah, he sends each stage. Evan G does the same thing.
Yeah,
he'll send
that
each
thing is
stage.
pretty scary looking, what I'm looking at right there,
Yeah. So that's a good example actually. So for example, in his original concept art of Crimson Pain, his armor's thinner. And when Corey drew him, he made him a juggernaut. Did not change one thing. Landed.
You know what? When you said he's a speedster, you look at every speedster in the comics. You got Quicksilver, you got Flash. They're all lithe runners. You know what I mean? So this you got this thing. I don't mean any disrespect to Quicksilver or Flash, but if they were running at me, I'd probably brace myself, get ready for to throw a punch. If that thing's running at me, I'm getting out of the way.
Yeah,
it's like a freight train coming at me. Quicksilver, he's a skinny little guy. That thing is a freaking tank.
Yeah, it's a monster under there. That's someone that you're feared. Even with 4 of the superheroes, when you're gonna see that guy, you're gonna think your whole time can they win? Are they gonna even win? He just killed this guy. Are they gonna kill these guys? I want you to have that.
Greg says, So it's your standard action flick then, or is it a thriller with drama aspects as well?
Definitely drama building forward. You're definitely getting a lot of conflict. The main thing with me that I see in a lot of comic books is if I'm on my 9th page of reading someone talking and I don't see someone getting hit in the face, that bothers me. So,
It's a comic.
Agreed.
you know what I mean? So, like, I want to put as much action as possible. There's times to develop characters, and there's not. And I feel like I can also develop them as they're fighting too.
So the Crimson Pain and Odysseus, do they solve their problems over a cup of coffee in the local Starbucks?
No, they fight, but you get a lot of hints on why he's doing it. I leave a lot of mystery. There's definitely in each book an Easter egg in each book giving you what is Crimson Pain, what is these characters, why are they doing this? Like, I don't say Crimson Pain hates this guy because of that. No, you don't. You're getting clues to find the real secrets of what Project Naosis is and was. And, everyone is going to have a full arc, so if they are going to die, they're going to be their full character they're meant to be. And, so it's definitely sci-fi action. And yes, we do have a driving plot and story of where the characters are going to go. The characters that you see in episode 1 are not going to be who they are by episode 10.
Okay.
And in between the mix, each character is going to have their own reactions. Like a great example is, in which we're going to start diving into in episode 4, is certain characters are okay with killing and doing what they're doing, but some characters are now going to get, a PTSD from this. Like they're murdering people and like blowing their heads up like that. You don't sleep great. Some people do, but some people don't. It's the same people, they come home from war, they're different people. So each of these things that they do is going to have a reaction in each book. And
is there a definite end to this? Like, do you have like 20 issues planned and then you're done? Move on to another topic, or?
So the initial plan was it was going to be 6 books, right? Now we're on 18 scripts that are actually done because I want to drag it out more in a good way. The original idea is the ending. So I thought of an idea of what Project Naosis is, and then I said, that's awesome. This is way too much. Let me work to that. Okay. And so that is the ending could be a new beginning, or we can end it right there.
Oh, definitely. I know how you feel. My books are like 80 pages and I'm struggling to put all the story into the 80 pages.
Yeah. And I also don't want it to be rushed, because that's another aspect as well. The reason why we did Omega 2090 is because I felt in episode 1 and 2 that you didn't really know who Omega was. Like, why is he the leader? Why is Thorn his best friend? What makes him tick? Like, he's super cool. We only got him in a couple pages. So I basically take 3 characters and give them an origin story in Omega 2091 and 2. So just dragging it out in that sense.
Yeah, I'm struggling because I'm making a comic now. I'm going to be launching sooner rather than later. I don't want to give definite dates because then people hold it to you.
Yeah,
but I'm struggling. How much? Like, I don't know. Is this going to be a success? In which case, great. Is this going to be a borderline success? Which case, all right. Or is it going to be a flop? But how much do I tell? Because I got this grand story. I got so much in my head. But I don't want to throw it all in issue 1, because then it's just going to be info dump the comic. You know what I mean? It's got to be a balance of a good story, characterization, So I like the way you're talking about everything. It sounds like you got it all figured it out. And
yeah, and it has to change as you go. Like, for a great example, and this is funny to say, the original 6 books, there was no Crimson Pain. There was no, and he's our main guy now. He's like the main dude, So I thought to myself, like, okay, I've never made a book before. I have 6 characters and I'm going to give them a superhero story. Why? Right. Versus I made episode 0. It's just a villain story, villain kicking ass. Buy this book, give you a tease at the end of what could come, which is the superheroes. And bam, we go. And I sold that at Terrificon. We since with episode 0, we relettered. Episode 0 and 1 are relettered in mostly its entirety, if that's a right word. to make everything flow. Like, I definitely learned as I was going, and you could definitely see from in episode 0, you'll see it says a Paul Thayer creation to now I have a company called Visual Vibration. And, it's you just got to swing with the boats. Because what I learned too is, like, I felt like I wanted to keep everything harnessed, right? Like, I can't tell anyone. Like, someone's gonna like steal my shit, and like,
Yeah, I was the first.
Yeah, I'm afraid to give too many. Like, I do a show two or three times a week, and I want to talk about my comic books, just like you want to talk about your. But I feel like I'm saying the same 6 things over and over again because I don't want to give it away.
Yeah, and I'm at the point, like, and then I kind of thought about it. I was like, does it really matter? Do I really have to do, all this lawyer stuff first and all that stuff? And at the end of the day, people don't give a shit. They got to first like the character, So, like, I of course I have everything handled now. I have all my copyrights, I have all that stuff. But you just gotta, what I've learned, is just gotta dive in and just, wish for the best. Because people ask if I went to school for this stuff. I didn't. I looked on Google how to write a script, and I made a book and paid a guy, and we killed it, like, and we're going to keep killing it, and I'm going to learn as I'm going. And I hope people see that too. I'm not saying there was any complaints with episode 0, episode 1. People love it. We sold, I sold 3,000 copies of episode 0, and I sold thousands of episode 1. And we're having a good return on that with these online Kickstarters and these Indiegogos. And definitely, I've been starting to see the shift at conventions for myself as well.
Do you think this is the future of comics? The people who get out there and just do, instead of, spending 5 years in a seat somewhere trying to learn how to make a comic. It's you or me or any indie comic producer just going out there and making their own stuff. And that will be where the new stories come from, because a lot of old stories, a lot of people are just abandoning them. So new stories for comics are gotta come from somewhere. I think it's going to come from the street level of people like yourself and myself and John.
Yeah, I definitely think that is, like, I've learned that, like, people also need to start, to, like, understand that it is a business, and, anyone could open up their own hair salon. Anyone could open up their own gym. Anyone could open up their own hat store. Anyone could open up their own restaurant. We got to think the same thing for comic books. Anyone could do it, and then you just got to be the one to push your product out and understand you're the only one that cares about your product more than anyone else. And, long as like I have this energy for it. Like, I was hyped for the podcast today. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, I just want to talk about it. I want everybody to know about it. And, that's how I'm going to get work. Otherwise, I never would get work. I'm just writing. You know what I mean? Like,
is this your full-time job, making comics?
It is, but I also have a full-time job as well. I was running 11 gyms, and I'm running 1 because 11, I couldn't do the 11 and do this. So I run a gym. I was running a lot, and, I was really at that, like, that thing. Like, I got this business coming. Like, I kind of took like 6 months off it because I was just so into my other business. That I was like, you know what? I love my job, but this is, it's where it's at. And I've been making a great return off it. I definitely see it going very well. And, out of, like, I was at San Diego Comic-Con. Like,
yeah, I was wondering, because I can't just take off my job or go to conventions, so, I'm a construction worker. I gotta go to work every day.
Yeah.
That's why I think the difference is that you're really probably the first person that we talked to that doesn't have a giant or even medium-sized internet presence. You go out there to the cons and to the shops. That's your bread and butter, instead of, trying to drag in an audience from online.
I didn't even know it existed. So I made episode 0 and did like 3 conventions. And then someone's like, you should do Kickstarter. And I'm like, what the fuck's a Kickstarter, dude?
Wow.
You know what I mean? Like I didn't know what it was. I just was doing Instagram. Like I said, I'm learning with it.
See, I'm the opposite. I thought the conventions was dead. I thought COVID killed all the conventions and nobody was going. I literally didn't even think about going to conventions with my comic book until I talked to Vaughn last week. And I'm like, how, not to be disrespectful, but how did a 24-year-old kid tell me this? And, I'm Mr. Comic book guy over here. But I really did. I thought COVID killed the conventions, and I thought nobody was going anymore. and Marvel pulled out of the thing, and DC has a smaller presence. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm not going to convention, because I would love to get a table, me and RJ, me, you and RJ and Paul, we'll all sit there and shake hands and sell comics. That would be a great 12 hours.
I hope they all
You know?
give up. You know what
What's
I mean? Like, yo, DC leave. You know what I mean? But like,
Yeah, but if DC and Marvel leaves, the average person on the street's not going to wake up going, I let's get Crom the Destroyer. What's that? I don't know. Let's just get it.
It's not
or let's
about,
get Project Bill. They're going in because of Spider-Man.
I definitely think like no one, and this is going to be the thing that a lot of people say. First off, Vaughn, I found Vaughn because he walked past my table and I sold him a book. That's how he met me. And and I got him from that way, and we've been buds ever since. And he's connected me. Yeah, he's awesome. I can't wait to buy his book. And
me too. It looks great too. Your book reminds me of his book, and that's a compliment because I think his book looks great.
Yeah, and I'm super happy for him. And so like, for example,
wait a minute. You're not jealous and want to fight with him? Come on, man.
And everyone's been very, very supportive over me in every single group, every single industry, every single side of the business.
Awesome.
From super grateful. Shane has me on his podcast all the time. He had me on twice already. Eric was the one who actually put my Indiegogo on the map. So like, it's definitely my presence is there, but in the comic conventions, but like nobody is gonna come to my. Now it's different. I'm getting some people that like know who I am, but like no one's coming to my table and saying, let me buy this book. Like I don't want to be that person to be like, you got to really get out there and like, push the product. Like I definitely do very well because I like will sweat through my shirt to get sales, and I see other people just sitting back, like hoping someone's coming. No one's coming to save you. And like, you're not Superman, you're not Batman.
So what are you doing? You're walking in front, grabbing people and putting their heads down on your table. Look at this book.
So not to give out the format, but I have my pitch down to a science. In 15 seconds, you're buying or you're not buying. And then I'll do the next one in 15 seconds, and the next one in 15 seconds, the next one in 15 seconds, the next one in 15 seconds. And I'll just keep doing it over and over and over again. I'll do 300 in a row until I can't. Like, I'll still go. I'll just keep going. And then that's how I sell, for example, at New York Comic Con, and this is just one of the books, I sold 150 of these. You know what I mean?
Nice.
It's a $50 book in Comic Cons. And I on the Indiegogo you get it for 30. But I try to, because they're gonna leave and they'll never see you again. Like unless you're at every convention. I feel like I've been building up my audience now for years, that I have the people coming back and saying, okay, give me issue 2 now, or okay, I picked up, and they'll look through their Instagram and be like, okay, I have 1, 2, 3. Okay, give me the next 2. And I feel like that's the next part too, is that like every time I'm going to go to the same conventions, every year you're at least going to see one more book at the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See,
at tables
my problem is I'm not a good salesman. I get like shy and embarrassed when I'm like talking about my stuff, people will super chat me and I'm like, I get embarrassed,
Yeah.
I'm selling these pint glasses and I feel bad even mentioning them, so
yeah,
I could learn a thing or two from you.
Yeah, sales, like I said, it's always been my thing. I've been selling, I've been working in sales for like 10 years, and it's not about like me selling it. Like, of course the sales part is part of it, but like, I just don't stop. Like I can get 100 no's before I made my first $200 for the day. You know what I mean? Like, but you can't stop. I see it, you'll see when I'm at cons, a lot of people vibrate towards that. And then, a lot of people on hour 3 is their time for lunch. And then hour 4, maybe I should have a second lunch. And then hour 5, I'm going to have an energy drink. And then
or I'm going to go over there and talk to that guy, because I'm going
to talk to Lenny Lenny's wants to talk for a bit. And it happens, when I network, I have my wife at the table and she's doing the same thing as me. Bam, 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 science. That's another thing too, on why I have one product. I feel like that's a thing that holds a lot of people back, is that there's like 20 products on the table. Here's my, my witch book. Here's my vampire book. Here's my superhero book. Here's my Dracula book. And it's just like, what do you mean? Like, you got to really like understand, like, the basic consumer, isn't it's not like you got to really just dumb it down. It's just the best way to put it. It's like you can't expect these people to understand what you're talking about. You got to make it as simple as possible. And if they read it, which was the same thing as these Indiegogos for me getting all these spotlights from everyone, that I will earn the right after for you to get the next book from me.
Pretty good. Yeah. Again, I'll learn lessons from the next generation. This is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hate to have to cut it short, but we have hit our hour, and I'm due over at Peter Sameti's channel. So I just want to remind everyone that the link is in the description for the Indiegogo page that I'm showing in the background here, Project Naosis. I can never say that right. So any last words, Paul, for your sales pitch for whoever's out there in the audience?
Super grateful for anyone that posts, retweets, anything. ProjectNaosis.com. We ship it in 3 days. You'll get it. Indiegogo, 2 weeks. If you're at a con, come say hi. I'm super grateful for me being on the show and any person that gives me even 10 seconds of their time, let alone an hour like today.
All right. Thank you very much. And I want to thank everybody for showing up in the chat. We will be on John's channel next week. I'm not sure if we have a guest, or is it Peter that's coming next week on Comic Book Team Up, John?
Next week is Peter Sameti.
Peter Sameti. Okay, and I'm going to be on Peter Sameti's channel right after this. So you want to jump over to Peter's channel. You'll see another hour of me. So I want to thank John for coming. I want to thank Paul for showing us his beautiful books. And I will see you all later.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.